Between Two Bridges, 116. People aren't broke.
They're just maxed out.
Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. This episode is brought to you by Wash. Sign up at pickupwashdeliver.com. Do the wash. Skip the hassle.
Between Two Bridges, I'm Joe Ferrani. I'm here with Jerry to my left.
Jerry Kenna, since we're saying last names, just
first name, last name basis. Just trying to make it through the day, make it through the weeks here.
Yeah, it was a rough day.
Before we got on air, I was just saying January's real. Like, the older you get, the more you see it, College football has come to a wrap. Not that I watched much college football this year, but that's got to be one of the later ends to the season. Seems like that went on forever.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, I'm a Pitt fan. Pitt season ended a while ago. Been a minute since Pitt's been on.
It was still light out at 8:30 whenever their season ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good though. I mean, it was a story. It's like a great story. I mean, so they. I noticed something that they started. I don't know when they started this, but after the game, there was a guy with like a leaf rake, and he was raking up all the confetti. Yeah. And apparently, some companies are like adding some confetti in with the hats and shirts and shit. I'm like, oh
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so you feel like you were there, got some confetti.
That's cool.
I got Super Bowl 43 confetti.
Did you?
I wasn't even there, but a gentleman gave me his ticket, and inside the sleeve that the tickets were in
was a little confetti.
Little confetti. So, yeah, I'm hoping the confetti rains down on me at the end of this year, like best year ever, But
yeah, 2026 is starting out pretty well for me. I got a lot of. We've talked about it a bunch. We made a bunch of changes, got some shit together, and made some improvements and buckled down hard, put the pedal down, and it's starting out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to chase some opportunities.
We're chasing some opportunities, and
right.
we're heading in the right direction. I'm pretty happy about it. So.
And I think in years past, with like you're apprehensive because tax season's around the corner, and you can't chase and do what you were doing.
No, I'm chasing now, buddy. We're going hard.
Free reign to chase. I did some stuff this week that I've never really done before. We're in an acquisition time where we're trying to gain new customers, not only on the routes, but the new store. And in the past, like, I kind of like took this approach where like, you either use me or you don't, and I don't give a fuck. But I started reaching out to some people in my Rolodex that I know that, maybe I've had conversations with them in the past about using us. I think maybe last Tuesday I did some networking with that. We talked about it on the last episode, but with the draft, and I realized, without a big marketing budget, I'm pretty much the only tool we have to get new customers. My driver's out there and he does a great job, but when you have 57 stops or 70 stops and it's snowing and it's cold, you're not doing much networking. So this time of year, it's on me. I'm either going to do it or I'm not. And last year we hired our girl now. She'll be there a year. So now she's full-time. And that money's got to come from somewhere.
Like, you know what, though? Something I've noticed in my business, and I don't mind doing it. If you can get yourself out of the weeds where you're not trying to put out fires and doing the day-to-day, I don't mind doing the marketing. I don't mind going out and selling my business. And if you're confident that the work's getting done and you're confident in your systems and processes and you're out of the weeds, that's what I like doing. I like going out and selling and communicating and trying to get out there and work and do that kind of stuff.
Right. And I think that's what happened is like, I think when you're in the weeds for so long, you don't even realize you're out of them, and then when you're out of them is now, I think, more important than ever to be responsible, because it'd be real easy to like go home
or go golfing or go fuck around. But now it's like, now it's time to drop the hammer. Let's go.
And that's where I catch myself. Like, I'm down at the new store, and usually I'll work like the evenings down there. And like, I'm there usually 2:30 to 6, and that's a nice little window to like pull out your phone, go through your Rolodex, see what's going on, go back through your old customers. And so I've been reaching out to a lot of old customers, like, maybe they weren't real confident in our home delivery service, and maybe they've seen what it looks like to get dry cleaning done on the cheap, and they want to get back with us. So I was able to acquire a couple people that are getting on the route, actually a couple pickups tomorrow. So yeah, in our business, it's nickel dimes, you know, you just keep fucking punching, you know, you never know. And so that's where I'm at right now as a business owner, just trying to figure it all out still. January is a tough month for dry cleaning. A lot of the messages are coming through the system like, hey, we're going to be gone the month of February. Hey, we're in Florida. You know, people that are my good clientele, that they're not sticking around for 22 inches of snow over the weekend.
Yeah.
They are out skis. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's one of the things that I'm watching like a hawk right now that really have no answers to. So it's going to snow. This will air after. We will have had our largest probably snowfall in a couple years. And, you know, good thing it is on a Saturday. Because when it snows, like today it was snowing and my van's on the road, I'm like paranoid, you know?
Yeah, that's a scary day.
Yeah, because you're like, every time the phone rings, you're like, no, please, no.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just my driver. My driver's a pretty good driver, but, you know, it's everybody else on the road. He's on 79,
100%.
you know. So, but that can happen on a summer day. You just grin and bear it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Part
got
of the
that
risk
going.
of having trucks on the road, man.
Yeah, we have a friend that had a large construction company with a lot of trucks on the road. And, you know, you think about a small family, they got to worry about their car and their wife's car. When you own a business, you got to worry about 17 cars on the road, you know. So you just hope for the best, I guess. There's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do.
The good news is there's GPS in the vehicles now, so if that bitch is on its roof, we'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the driver? Oh, we got to go find him. So, but yeah, so I got a little bit of time to do that, and I think I caught myself quickly, you know. I was like, oh, I'll go home and do the dishes and like wait for the kids to get off the bus. And I'm like, nah, you're not making any money sitting at home, you know.
Yeah, you gotta grow. If you don't grow, you die.
That's right. So, and our like, we're seeing a little bit of it too. Like our weekly customers they're the ones, you know, that pay the bills. But like, it's those other smaller customers that kind of maybe just went away a little bit. And when I reach out, they're like, I just don't get anything cleaned anymore. Like, and I wonder if it's a cost saving measure on their end.
Well, there's a lot of that. In this day and age. Part of it is probably the time of year, things like that. I think a lot of it is that people are cutting back.
Right. Yeah, I credit like some of the slow times this time of year is like our customers have garages. Like we always said that in our industry. So like, if you get in your car at work and you work downtown or wherever you're working and it's 12 degrees out, that car is not stopping until you get in your fucking garage. You just go inside and be done. Tomorrow's another day for those kind of people. And I get that. But the financial strain, I also understand that. You know, it's a luxury to get your shit dry cleaned. You know, maybe you wear the suit again because you're not going to pay $23 to get it cleaned. So we'll see. Time will tell. They say our business, the dry cleaning industry, is recession proof. And I guess you just have to expect that people are always going to get shit cleaned. And sometimes it actually helps our business because people will go to work and they want to look the part. You know, that instead of dressing like a bum, they're like, oh, wait, I better
Step it up.
Yeah, I better at least put on a button down or something.
Well, I think we're probably about to find out. I think we are in a weird time. We're in a unique economy right now because there are some parts of the economy that look decent. You know, the market is, if you look at the stock market on its face, you know, doesn't look bad. But if you look at a lot of the different metrics of the market, overall, the economy overall, it's a weird time. Consumer spending is not great. Consumer debt is high. Car repossessions are high. Student loan defaults are high. There's a lot of things like that are not good. The housing market is in a really weird place. I just posted a video the other day about the housing market, and President Trump has thrown out a lot of wild proposals to try to fix the housing market. And it's a weird situation because it's delicate. And you have to try to toe this line because there's no easy answer, right? Because housing prices have gone up so much. And for example, and I know all this because I did all this research to do this video. So I'm going to throw percentages out because I did all this research to do this video, but housing prices based on, compared to pre-pandemic levels are up like 35%, right? So for housing prices to come back down to pre-pandemic levels, to drop 35%, you have to understand what that would do to people that own homes. That would be catastrophic. Also, consider the fact that the number one new debt in America right now are home equity loans. So anybody that's got a home equity loan right now, based on this new equity that they have in their home, not only would they be upside down in their new home equity loan, but they'd be upside down in their home, which now means you'd end up with a ton of people that are now walking away from their homes.
Right.
Now you've got foreclosures. That's not good. That's not good for homeowners. It's not good for the banks. So you can't have that. In order for people to have the buying power that they had pre-pandemic, the household median income would have to go up to $132,000 for the household median income nationwide, which would be a 52 or 56% increase. It's not sustainable. It's not achievable. That's a huge jump. Or rates would have to drop down to 2.65%, which right now they're like around 6. But the problem with if they were to drop them down to that, it would then make housing prices skyrocket, which would then defeat the purpose of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you can't just come out and say, well, we're going to drop rates down to 2.65% to try to make it so that you have the buying power again, because it's going to be counterproductive. It's going to make housing prices go up again because now rates are cheap, money's cheap. If money's cheap, prices go up. So he's throwing out these ideas like 50-year mortgages. He threw out an idea to force Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to buy back billions of dollars worth of bonds, in the idea that it would drive down costs, which it's extremely complicated and too complicated to explain over a podcast. And really, actually, to be completely honest, it's hard for me to even wrap my head around the logistics of that. One of the ideas that he proposed recently was allowing people to tap into their 401k for down payments. He's talking about banning hedge funds and institutional investors from buying single-family homes. That one, it's wild, all the pushback he's getting from that. People are blowing that one off like, well, that's not going to work. I mean, that's so small. I dug into that because I've seen that. Because I work with a lot of real estate investors and I buy real estate, right? So I've seen that happen. And when I saw that, I thought, yeah, well, that could do something. I mean, I don't understand why these hedge funds and institutional investors are, I mean, first of all, I was surprised he did it because as a Republican, I was surprised that he came out against allowing institutional investors to be doing that. It's not exactly a right-wing talking point to be coming out against institutional investors and hedge funds. So I was surprised that was a proposal coming from him, but he came out and wants to do that. Now, so I started doing some research on what kind of effect that would be. Now, the media is saying anything, I've read anywhere from, well, nationwide, you're talking about 1% to 3% of homes, single-family homes, are owned by hedge funds and institutional investors. And when you look at nationwide, that figure is correct. But that's not really an accurate depiction of the impact that would have. Because when you're looking at middle America, rural neighborhoods, yeah, nationwide, it is only 1 to 3%. But if you look at, major metropolitan areas, for instance, Atlanta, 27% of the single-family homes in Atlanta are owned by hedge funds. In 2025, 30% of the home purchases, single-family home purchases in 2025 were purchased by hedge funds.
Yeah.
30%. 30% of the home purchases, that affects pricing. There's no reason for hedge funds to be purchasing 30% of the single-family homes. And if you think about it, they have no spending limit.
Right.
So if you're a homeowner trying to buy your first home and you're competing against a hedge fund, you lose.
Right.
Right?
You better write a letter to the owner. Like,
you're getting outbid.
I want to raise my family in this house.
You're getting outbid.
Yeah.
So you can't compete with that. And they're buying them for rentals because they're secure, they're insured. I mean, it's a safe investment for these hedge funds.
Right.
So legislation to ban them from purchasing it could, in these metropolitan areas, make an impact on the value, on the sale price and the availability of these homes. However, there still leaves, will all these things help? I think they will. Will they solve all the problems? Probably not. I mean, there's still a housing shortage. Rates are probably still too high. But like I said, it's a delicate situation that is going to be hard to navigate because there's a shortage, and home builders are hesitating to sell or to build because they're not sure where things are going. Margins are down, profit margins are down, and they don't want to build a house and then get squeezed.
Right. Well, it's hard to put that, put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Right.
When the rates were low, people would, pre-approve. Let's say they were pre-approved for $200,000. Rates go down 1% or 2%. Now they're buying a $310,000 house because technically on paper they can afford it, but now there's no room for that house to go down in value or they're screwed. They're backwards. They're not moving because they can't sell that one.
Right.
So you're buckling down.
Yeah, and people with these 2.5% or 3% loans, they're not moving. They're not selling their houses. So people with these pre-pandemic or right after the pandemic loans, they're not selling their houses. They're not moving. They're not refinancing. So you're not seeing people selling their houses. So there's just not many houses on the market.
And I wonder how many of those phone calls I get about buying people that want to buy my house company. I wonder how many of those are backed by hedge funds that are just out cold calling too.
They very well may be.
They're buying houses that aren't even on the market.
100%.
Yeah.
So there's a major issue right now with housing, and the other big issue that's affecting the economy right now is credit card debt. And he threw out a big plan earlier this month, and the date that he said that this was all going to happen is come and gone, and obviously it didn't happen. Was that he was going to force credit card companies to reduce rates to 10%. Obviously it didn't happen. I posted a video about it. Didn't happen. Now, what's wild about this is that it's another thing that I was kind of surprised that he came out for, because it's, again, not really something that a typical Republican would be out going after big credit card business. But he's doing it. But there's a lot of pushback in it because the fear is that it's going to hurt consumers because it's going to make these credit card companies reduce credit limits, make it harder for people to get credit cards. It very well may. However, on the other side, should somebody with a 500 credit score or a 550 credit score be getting a $10,000 credit card? They're allowing these people to get these big credit cards with a 30% interest rate, rack them up, and then paying 30% a year. Yeah. They're burying people in debt they'll never pay off.
I feel like there's always a moral obligation on a credit card company. You know what I mean? Like they were immoral when we were younger. They would go to baseball games to give out free beach towels.
Yeah.
And then they get college kids They were on every college campus. I don't even think they're allowed to do that anymore.
I don't know. I don't know if they do or not.
But like these banks, they don't have a moral they don't have a moral bone in their body, and they're just crushing people.
They are. It's really bad. The interesting part of that is if you look at since 2022, 2023, default rates did not increase at the rate that rates did. The average rate around that time was around 20%, and the average rate now is like 26, 27, 28%. And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Right. I always get pissed off at big companies like Visa, Capital, like these card companies that are, they can afford to have ballparks named after them. They can afford to have TV commercials in the middle of the Super Bowl. But like, that's all like impractical spending on Visa's part.
Yeah. And everybody assumes that these big rate credit cards are only for people that have a bad credit score, but that's not the case.
No, it's everybody.
It's everybody. I mean, I know of people that have an 800 credit score that have a 26, 28% credit card. Now,
your limit's higher, that's all.
The limit's higher, and they don't carry a balance because they're responsible and they pay their card off every month. But granted, I also know people that have an 800 credit score that have a 10% credit card because they work with their credit union or whatever, and they have a great credit card. And that's great. Good for you. But not every card's like that. And if you don't pay interest because you're responsible, good for you too. Right. That's awesome. And that's wonderful. But these card companies are charging a ridiculous rate. And people right now, consumer debt is extremely high. And what's happening is what's affecting, I think that's what's affecting this consumer spending, is that it's not even necessarily that cash flow all of a sudden is down. Cash flow's been down.
Yeah.
It's that people are maxed out. Their credit cards are maxed out. And they're like, holy shit, I just don't have any more room to spend anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I see it in our household. We're more conscientious now than ever, just because, obviously with making the changes that we did, the revenue line's down, but like you put value on the things that you buy rather than just go buying them, You have
to hesitate.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, I always laugh, like in my life, I've had several phases of my life where it's like when you're standing there at the cash register and you're like, is that going to go through? And then there's times where you're like, fuck it, just put it on the card, like.
Yeah. The question, when I put out the video after he made that announcement, and I was actually pretty optimistic he was going to get it done because he doesn't seem to, like, first of all, the initial thought was, he's not going to be able to do it because you have to have congressional approval. And then I thought, he doesn't seem to want that. He doesn't seem to bother for that any other time. So he just does shit anyway. So I was pretty optimistic he was just going to basically bypass Congress and find some loophole that he could just sign an executive order and do it anyway. But my biggest question was, if he was able to pull this off, how are people going to react to it? Because the responsible thing, like if you're a consumer, right, and you've got this credit card with this $10, $15, $20, $30,000 balance on it, right, and it's got this 25, 30% interest rate. Now all of a sudden you've got a 10% interest rate. Are you going to look at that as oh shit, I can go spend more money because I've got this great interest rate.
Right.
I'm going to go buy this big screen TV that I've been wanting to buy. Or am I going to go buy this other bullshit that I've been wanting to buy? Or are you going to look at this like, because that 10% interest rate reduction was only for 12 months. He was only doing it for a year.
It was a window, yeah.
It was a window. Are you going to look at this like, I've got 12 months of a reduced rate. I got to pay this shit down.
Right.
This is a gift. This is a 12-month gift that I can take so that I'm not paying 30%, I'm paying 10.
Yeah, and I wonder if if the credit card companies couldn't do some stuff for people where it's not mandated by the government, but say, hey, your minimum payment's $125, if for 6 months you pay $250, you double the payment, then maybe they would reduce your rate. You know what I mean? Some kind of like program where it's not everybody gets it, but if your initiative is to lower your debt,
Yeah.
but they don't care. They would actually double your rate, and the guy that defaulted 6 months in a row, he would get a reduced rate.
Yeah, and that's the sad part of it is like, you know, they do that all the time. And, you know, these credit card companies, if you stop paying, and you don't pay for 6 months, they write that shit off.
Right.
I mean, they sell your debt to some debt collection company.
Yeah.
The debt collection company calls you and they negotiate it. And you say, I can pay you, you know, a third of it. And they say, okay, you know, we'll take a third of it and we'll break that up over the next 6 months or 12 months or whatever. And they'll negotiate it with you and you end up paying a third of the debt, you know.
Yeah,
and the credit card company basically sells it off, and you know, like you could pay it off for a fraction, and it trashes your credit.
Right.
But like after 6 months, it's trashed anyway.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And like
Once they report
point,
a couple times, you're fucked.
right? Like they at that point, like that consumer's like whatever, man.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
Well, I think the credit score system's broken.
oh, it 100% is. The credit score system sucks.
It is designed to keep people at 500.
Yeah, it's brutal. It is so brutal.
I've never really dove into it too much, but I don't think if you say you're sub 535, I don't think you can get to 800 ever in your lifetime.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be years of excellent.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
Like 10.
Yeah. By then
Maybe
you're
more.
like 65, like what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard, man. I don't know where we're heading with this, and I think he's coming up with a lot of different avenues with it. I don't know what the answer is. I think that what we're probably going to see at some point in 2026, we're going to see more rate reductions. But they've got to be slow with it, because if not, you're going to end up with more inflation. You're going to see housing prices just going up more.
Right. And I mean, they need to do something to get the dollar back out and consumers back and excited to spend money. I mean,
Right.
it can't. I mean, I think this is a trend for January. Coming off the holidays, people spend a lot of money.
Well, January's always been like that. When I was in college, I worked in retail, and January was always
Flat.
It was dead. It was like they anticipated. Every retailer anticipates losing money in January.
Right.
Thank you for listening. And now a brief word from our sponsor. You've got a full plate. Kids, meetings, workouts, side hustles. There's better things to do than laundry. Introducing Wash, laundry reimagined for the modern world. Schedule your pickup in seconds via the convenient web app. Wash picks up your clothes, cleans with care, and brings them back fresh and ready to wear. But it's more than garments. From bedding and table linens to shoes, hats, purses, and more. Wash handles all your life's fabric, leaving you more time to do you. Visit pickupwashdeliver.com and see how convenient it can be to do the wash. And now, back to the show.
Yeah, January, February, then, the weather change here locally, Pittsburgh, the weather changes. People get back out and moving, you start doing shit. But right now is a weird time to be in. It's always been this way,
Yeah.
A lot of Januaries and Februaries, even when I was working for a dry cleaner, it's like, are we going under here? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah.
So you just gotta this is a time of year, like even if you are in the weeds of your business every day, this is a time of year where you can go out and you can try to get a couple new clients or hustle a little bit extra, because the day-to-day is slowed down, So one of the things that I hate doing, and I've done it for our new store, but I hate discounting, because I hate getting the consumer that comes with it, because I dealt with a customer. You open a new store and you give a deal, and then they come back and it's the same item, but it's more money. And they're never like, oh, well, I got a deal last time. Sweet. They're like, well, it wasn't this much last time. I'm like, yeah, because we gave you 15% off because you were a new cut, So it's like a slippery slope with discounts.
Yeah. I don't I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you have to charge what you're worth. You're
Right.
worth, and we've talked about this many times, and it's funny whenever you realize, oh, I've been doing this a long time. I guess I'm a professional in this field. Whenever you kind of still think of yourself as a kid and you realize how old you are. But your time is valuable.
Yeah.
And you got to get what you're worth.
We were saying like your B2B, dry cleaning is more B2C. I mean, I do have commercial accounts, but like for that B2C, you kind of have to have a call to action, and like, it's hard because like I said, I don't want to do discounts, but so I've been working on some like kind of like loyalty programs, like some like wash bucks. Like if you spend X amount of dollars, then you get money off.
Yeah.
So reward the people. Cause we've talked about it before. That's always my bitch is like Comcast and mother, they give discounts. So, if you're calling your new customer, it's $14.99 a month for internet, cable, and phone. And then the 6th month you're paying $14.99 and you're paying that forever. They're never going to lower it. So
but then you end up with a system where you have no loyalty. Right. And I prefer a business model with loyalty. I want clients that are ride or die.
Right.
And when you have a business like Comcast, I basically, I sign up, and as soon as I get to the end of that contract and my price is going to go up, it's like, all right, well, you're going to drop my price or I'm going to call Verizon. Oh, you're not going to drop my price? Okay, cancel it, and I call Verizon. And then I use them until that contract's up, and then I go back to Verizon.
It's like a vicious cycle, yeah.
It's a vicious cycle where I want my clients to ride or die with me. Yeah. And I have clients that are like, oh, no, I will pay Jerry for whatever because he's my guy, and I know that he will go to the end of the earth for me.
Right. And that's one of the things, like, what's nice about my software is I was looking at it tonight, there's a way to do like a promotion. So for like every dollar you spend, I could set it up that you get a dime, right? So basically it's a 10% discount, but it doesn't trigger anything until you spend $1,000 for the year. Then if you spend $1,000 with me for the year, I'll give you $100. And I was like, I kind of like that, because people that spend $1,000, they're our premier customer. At the end of the year, it'd be cool to give them a gift card and be like, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
I had a conversation with a client today that's dealing with some stuff, and she was like, I never thought in a million years dealing with what I'm dealing with. I mean, I'm dealing with something with her that is, let's just say it's outside the scope of a typical accountant. Right. But she said, never in a million years would I thought that I would be leaning on my accountant to get me through this process. But here I am, and, she's extremely grateful, but it's one of those situations that client is ride or die.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, we do everything in our power to make sure that mistakes don't happen. But if a mistake happened, mistakes happen.
Right.
But because of everything else that we do, there ain't, things happen. But because of that, because like I go to I make sure that I'm there, and my clients are important to me.
Right. Oh,
my clients' businesses are important to me.
Right. And that's why you have the business you have, because if it's not like that, then you're screwed,
Right.
And I caught myself real quick on McKnight Road when I was out there. That was part of the reason why I did what I did. Like I was sick of people. Like I was sick of the phony, like, you're my boy, dude. Like, and then COVID hits and your eye gets open. Like, I had customers coming to check on me to make sure we were all right during COVID. And then coming out of the backside, I was like, where was this guy? And, not that obviously they weren't getting shit clean, but like, you come to me and you expect this like banter in this like environment. Like I'm supposed to drop what I'm doing to come check on you, but it's a two-way street, dude. I'm still a human, and we've talked about setting boundaries in here, like on this show, but like that was a real part of me. Like I was like sick of it. I was sick of the, you only have so many words for the day, dude. And I'm like going home like mentally drained from bullshit conversations with bullshit people. And like, it's fun to look back now and see the guys that like, I still have them as customers. We're just delivering to their house. And it's the other half of the crew that like thought that they were like my best customer, and they're gone in the wind. You know, they just go up the street to Giant Eagle and do whatever because it's consumer interactions and consumer, like gaining consumers is a big business for a reason. Psychological. It's, you know, it's hard. We just navigate it. You know, today this might work, tomorrow that might work. You know, you post a video today, you know, whatever, but someone might call tomorrow because they saw that video today or a week from now. You just got to keep putting yourself out there, you know. Mm-hmm. So, and don't stop in January because you're slow. Don't take advantage of the slow times because you're slow. It's time to keep calling and checking up on old customers and clients, see what the fuck's going on.
Yep.
So, and then the other end, like a customer might be like, you didn't reach out to me. Like you changed your brand and you changed your name, you know, so I got to find those people that felt like they got put on the back burner.
Yeah.
So it's fun, you know, and you take the good with the bad.
You got to stay on your toes. You got to adapt. Things change.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out what works, and things that work today don't work tomorrow.
Right.
And no, it's fun. It's part of being in business, but.
Yeah, they say own your own business. You know, most of our listeners either are in positions that they make a lot of shot calling throughout the day or they own their own business. You know, I saw a past guest making a video for the first time, I think in a long time.
I saw that.
And kudos, shout out to him. He'll know who he is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, that's the next hump that you need to get over in business. And it's not the easiest one, you know. Mm-mm. So, I mean, we had a 73-year-old guy on this show talking about social media, and he's doing some incredible things, and it's cool to see. It's you know, I enjoy, like, when I see videos of other people I know that have businesses, I'd like to think maybe we inspired them a little bit, bud.
So gotta get yourself out there, man. It's you know, I've been doing it and trying to get videos out there every day. And I find it fun. I mean, sometimes it's tough to think about something to do, like put out there and like what to talk about. And sometimes I'll do a video and I'll think like, oh, this is going to be good. And I'll do it. And I'll be like, I couldn't fucking hate that video more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing worse than scrapping when you worked on for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you got to scrap them. Yeah. And, you know, even before this episode tonight, we're sitting here and it's January. It's fucking slow out there. It's just hard to, like, what are we going to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the whole city of Pittsburgh is in mourning still from Tomlin being gone.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. There's no real news on that front. So
they're interviewing some people, but, you know, who knows? By the time this episode airs, maybe they'll hire somebody.
Yeah, and they were saying about the Senior Bowls coming up and stuff like that, and Tomlin would always go to that because that's just the kind of coach he was. Mm-hmm. And he was the pseudo GM and everything else. The new guy doesn't need to go to that. You know, Cowher didn't go to the Senior Bowl.
No.
So we'll see.
Who do you think they're going to hire? Let's make a prediction. See if they hire somebody before the next episode.
You know.
Let me ask you this. So when's this episode going to air? Will the Rams?
The 28th. It'll be Wednesday the 28th.
And the Rams will play again before that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll play this weekend,
so,
AFC, NFC championship game.
Yeah. So who are they going to hire?
I mean, I think that they might take their time. If they're looking at Shula from the Rams, they're not going to do anything until they're done.
Right.
So we might be waiting until the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, but I've had a theory today that if the Rams win the Super Bowl, they might not get Shula anyway. So I think McVay might exit stage left. Him, Stafford, just go off into the sunset.
And you think Shula might end up with a head coach position
and Shellhouse and all those guys would just stay there. So that's a hot take. Me personally, I would like to see them just go with like an interim, you know, because this like.
No, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I know, but it's maybe time to do something different. I'd like to see McCarthy for three years.
No way. I think who the Rams playing? Seahawks.
Seahawks might just beat the shit out of them.
We have a tough. I like the Rams, and I'd love to see the Rams in the Super Bowl. I think there's a good possibility it ends up being Rams-Patriots in the Super Bowl.
We have one past guest who'll be really happy about that. Shout out Kevin, Sip Taproom.
Yeah.
He was at the game in Chicago.
Was he?
Yeah, he's a diehard, man.
My prediction is Shula as the head coach and Schulhaus as the OC.
That would be my ideal scenario. That's what I would really like to see. But like I said, if are the Rooney's patient enough if the Rams win and go to the Super Bowl and have to wait a month from now?
Yeah,
to name their head coach?
They had in-person interviews with McCarthy and what's his name?
Flores. Well, I also thought it was funny that Cleveland, had Mike McDaniels on their list of in-person interviews, and he took the OC job in San Diego, so he's off that list. So now they have to bring in a minority candidate for an in-person interview. So, how shitty is that? Whoever that guy that's coming in is simply coming in to fulfill the Rooney rule. He's not a candidate. He wasn't a candidate. It's like
they have to
interview in person so many minority candidates.
Oh, really?
They have to give them a chance. So they need to find some minority to interview for a job that they didn't intend on interviewing anyway because they thought Mike McDaniels was going to fulfill that minority.
He's a minority?
Yeah. I guess he's Latino. I mean, take that part out. That's going to sound racist. Leave it in. I don't give a shit. If you listen this long, you get to hear me be somewhat racist.
I heard a clip on TikTok that there was some sort of that he had some sort of multicultural, that there was something about him that qualified him for the Rooney role. But
I don't know. We'll see. It's a big thing. I mean, city of Pittsburgh needs a head coach before the draft. That's for sure. I would assume.
Yeah, and Rooney said during the press conference that their plan was to try to get somebody before the combine.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I guess it really doesn't. Whoever they hire, it doesn't really matter. Time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to be moving relatively quickly. I mean, they're doing in persons, they're doing virtuals.
What do you think? You think Aaron Rodgers is coming back?
I think it's going to depend on who the coach is.
Do you allow a 43-year-old or 42-year-old quarterback to decide who your next coach is, though?
I don't think that he has any input on it.
Well, that's why I kind of like McCarthy coming in because he's stable and he's been very good at getting the best out of some no-name quarterbacks. I mean, he went 12-5 3 years in Dallas with some shit. Dak was out. And
what's Dallas done?
Yeah, but I mean, 12-5 and develop Will Howard, or 12-5 and develop the next quarterback, and then bring a young stud OC in. You gotta have a quarterback in this league. Quarterbacks make coaches.
I agree, but Dallas hasn't done shit.
Right. I mean, that's a shame because they had a really good team this year. It seemed.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be McCarthy. I think they brought in McCarthy because he's a Pittsburgh guy, and I think they just needed to. I don't think they're going to hire McCarthy. I think.
Well, if they do, the standard for Pittsburgh Steelers football with that hire would simply say the standard is to have a winning season, and that's it.
Yeah,
we want to be relevant, and that's all. Because if you go with one of these younger guys, it might be a 3-4 year skid, where it sucks to suck, but we suck, but you build back through the draft.
Yeah.
That's what makes the Steeler job not as enticing as Buffalo and
I'll tell you what, before Buffalo made their move, I think Pittsburgh and Baltimore were the number 1 and number 2 jobs in the NFL, but after Buffalo made their move, I think that might be the number 1 job in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and you wonder where, I guess there was a really shitty press conference today in Buffalo where the GM was taking heat for drafting Coleman, their wide receiver, that's still on the team, but pretty much said he fucked up picking him. Still an active player on the team. So there's some bad things coming out of Buffalo right now, but you wonder if there's not some blockbuster move to be made where, the Steelers get a quarterback. And I'm not saying it's Josh Allen, but maybe it's some other quarterback out there. Who knows? Who would have thought we had Aaron Rodgers 3 years ago? So we'll see. It's the fucking fuel that drives the bus in Pittsburgh, though. You can't turn on talk radio or anything and not. Penguins are doing well, and that's like they don't even get any fucking street cred. Crosby's on one of his to score more goals this year than any other year in his career.
It's like that dude doesn't age.
Yeah. They asked a guy today, Tyler Kennedy, what's motivating Crosby at this point, and he said the Olympics. He wants to make the Olympic team because he's playing well, not because he's Sidney Crosby. I'm like, whatever it takes, dude. You know, it's that old Hines Ward syndrome. Little old me, Hines Ward, you know. So, but that's not a bad attitude to have in business, no matter how big or small you are. You know, if you're a small business, act like you're a big business. If you're a big business, act like you're a small business. Find that sweet spot, you know. Nate doesn't like, or it was you that didn't like fake it till you make it. But that's kind of like what you're doing, you know. You're just kind of trying to fit that identity.
Yeah.
And you hope that whoever they're interviewing for this coach to replace Tomlin isn't coming in and like faking an identity and then gets in here and is a fucking deadbeat. They've been good at it, you know, but they've also been good at winning playoff games. So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll call us, dude. Maybe they'll let us call the plays. You want to call the plays? I wouldn't want that fucking job. I mean, I'd want the salary, but I wouldn't want that job.
No, I don't want that job.
So, and I think that's where Tomlin's at. I think he's just burnt out.
I think he's done.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever.
I don't think he'll be on the sidelines ever again.
Yeah, I would like to hear him say goodbye at least. You know, I feel like he's a family member at this point. Uncle Mike. But I don't know, dude. We'll see. What else you got for our listeners there?
Nothing. What else is up with you?
Nothing, man. Trying to plan a vacation here in the midst of all of this. So that's always fun.
So in previous years, I don't think you did it last year. In prior years, when you had the storefront, you shut down during your
we
vacation.
would close. I think those days are over, you know. Just
going to keep running, you're just not going to be there?
Yeah, I think that we did that for a couple of different reasons, but the main reason was because I didn't have, not that I didn't have the confidence in my staff, I just had too much worry, you know. But now that I got good people working for me.
What about the store?
The store, I think we'll man it. We'll just adjust the hours. It's pretty new and slow there. As long as we have some posted hours a week or two in advance and people can adapt. February is a really slow month for clothing coming in the door. But yeah, staff, you know, I got some people in the pipeline trying to see if they can give me a couple hours here and there. And we won't be open a full schedule, but we'll be open. That's one of the hard things about our business is like, we can't send an email to solve a problem if a guy needs a suit coat for a job interview. You know what I mean? Like that needs to be attended to. So, but maybe I'll hide a key under the mat in the front. And if you need to go in and get your shit, go in and get your shit.
I don't think that works. He'll be like, oh, I like this suit.
Yeah.
Like this one. It'll fit.
Right. And I mean, like for the volume of clothes we actually have on in the store, I could probably take them to our shop in Cheswick. And if the phone call came in, we're just delivering it to your house that week. You know, people need to understand that's an option. People need to understand that's the best option. And it's hard. It's very, very hard to make people understand. You get it. I get it. You know, newer customers, when they sign, they're like, what was I thinking? You know, and like some of these other people, like other dry clean facilities, they're like dirty to walk into. You don't even want to go in there.
Right.
You know,
well, that's the nice thing about your place is that it's not your typical dry cleaner.
Right.
It's nice in there.
So, but yeah, I mean, we're gearing up now for Valentine's Day. You know, it's one of the things you start looking at, like what's next. So one of the problems that my wife has seen as a parent is you have 22 kids in a classroom and you got to buy Valentines and they all come in packs of like 60. And then you have Valentines from like fucking 9 years in your basement, you know. So she's packaging them in counts of 10 to sell them, 10s and 5s. So like if there's 25 kids, you buy, you know, you can buy 2 10s and a 5. So they'll be going on sale. By the time this airs, they'll actually be out. So be your school Valentines and Valentines for your wife and significant other.
That's good.
So I'm working on some Yinzer Valentine's cards. But unfortunately, with Mike leaving, there goes a whole 1,000 cards I had lined up. So remember that chest pound kiss? I was going to put that kiss picture on the front of a Valentine's Day card. Thanks God we didn't go to print with those. So, Yeah, come check out the shop in Aspinwall. What the fuck? You got nothing else to do? Rack up some credit card debt. Come on down. We'll take
It's only
it.
29%.
Yeah. I mean, you pay 29%, I pay 3%, we're all getting fucked. So, till next week, right now, we have a guest next week lined up. We're not going to say names because every time we plug a guest, something happens. And maybe we won't even be able to fucking get here next week if we get 61 inches of snow.
Yeah. I'll get here.
Yeah, I'll FaceTime you.
Yeah.
My van, I'll drive it like a snowmobile. I don't give a shit. You want to predict that? Want to go on predict mode for the snowfall total?
We'll get 3 inches.
3 inches? Yeah, that's about right. It'll be like 7 because I hate shoveling anything over 6, so it'll be 7.5. So, well, till next time.
Till next time, bud.
Love you, bud.
Love you, bud.
Thank you for listening to Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. Find and follow us on your preferred podcast streaming platform. Like and subscribe, and leave us a rating and review. You can join us socially on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can email the show at info@betweentwobridgespodcast.com. Until next time, make it till you rake it.
Between Two Bridges, 115. I'm Ham.
No egg. But it's episode 116.
Yeah, we're not even fucking saying the number at the beginning. We're just...
Fuck it.
Eh.
Fuck it.